I'm Erin Weber with Erin'sLunchbox.com. Today we are going to make some delicious breakfast frittata. We're doing ham, cream cheese, mushrooms, and some kale. First we're going to prep up our mushrooms and cook them. Everything else goes into the frittata raw, and we're going to bake it for about 20 minutes at 350. So I'm going to get started with the mushrooms. I've just got a damp towel that I got a little bit wet. These are organic mushrooms from the farmer's market, and I just brushed the dirt off. While we're cleaning them, we'll turn a pan on. I've already got the oven preheating to 350. And we got a pan, we're going to put it on about medium-high heat. So with mushrooms, you do want a good amount of heat underneath them so they'll crisp up and release their water. If you want to cut off a little bit of the stem, if they look a little funky, I usually leave some on, but I just kind of get the little dry bottoms. So I'm just going to cut these up, slices, holding my knife in a nice pinch grip, clawing my fingers. And we are good. Got some butter right here. We're going to put it in the pan. I love raw butter, but if we're cooking it, you know, that's going to pasteurize a little bit anyway. So I get the pasture-raised butter. It is pasteurized, but it's just a little bit cheaper if we're cooking it. And butter will burn in the pan, so I don't have my pan too hot, but hot enough. So medium-high begins to foam up right away. So while we cook the mushrooms, we've got our kale here. We got the long kind of rib in the kale. I don't go too crazy pulling that out, but you can just pull along the stem if you want. And we're just going to julienne up the kale, which means cut it into thin ribbons. So roll it up like a cigar. I just kind of stack the leaves loosely. And I've got my knife and we're starting at one end. Which we're going to put right into the container where we're going to make our frittata. Let's put our mushrooms in. They're looking good, smelling good. We'll add a little salt to the mushrooms. It's got a store-bought organic ham steak here. If your farmer's market has something you like to use, or co-op, go for that. I'm not going to use all this ham, but I'll use a bit. Equal size cubes. We'll put that on the side with the kale. So our mushrooms are done. They're looking golden brown. A few of them are not as done, but we're good. We can just leave them in the pan. But I turned it off. Let's put the mushrooms. I'm going to throw everything else in too. And stir it up. I'm a big fan of using my hands. Now we're going to start with our pasture-raised eggs. Mine are from Rocky Canyon, my favorite farmer. Cracking them open. And again, using the egg yolks. I'm the complete opposite of egg white omelet up in here. Just give me 100% yolks. Use my whisk. Just want to make sure everything's really well mixed. It will puff up, so we don't need to worry about like filling it up to the brim. Actually, you probably don't want to fill it up to the brim, because if you ever cleaned cooked eggs out of your oven, you'll know that it's better to err on the side of underfilled than overfilled. So I'm just going to pour our eggs over our veg. If we wanted to get fancy, we could throw this on the heat and cook it a little bit, but what's this about? It's about saving time. I'm going to add some pepper. You can also add some red chili if you wanted, or chili flakes. And that kale, just want to make sure we cover it so it doesn't burn. So next up, we're just going to add a little cream cheese right on the top. So I'm just going to dot that on the top. It's not going to totally melt. It'll be nice little rich bites. It's ready to be popped in the oven, about 20 minutes or so. I don't want it to be cooked till it's super brown, cooked. I want it just set. So it's not going to be super goojy in the middle, but it's not overcooked in any way, shape, or form. The cream cheese will melt a little bit, the kale will soften, and we will be good. So pop that in the oven, and we'll come back to it in 20 minutes. We have got our beautiful frittata. It is just barely browning, and it's not too liquidy in the middle. We still have a little bit of like goodge to it. If you kind of poke in the middle, you see some of the egg white and some of the juices come up. There's going to be some carryover cooking as it cools down. Don't worry about it. You know, I mean, I have no problem even eating raw eggs, but with a frittata, we definitely do want some cooked. We just don't want it cooked to death. So err on the side of undercooking, especially if you're going to reheat it throughout the week. So I'm just going to put it here on my little trivet, let it cool down, and we'll cut it into squares and have a bite. I love frittatas, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, but it's kind of my make-ahead breakfast frittata, cream cheese, ham, mushrooms, and kale, farm eggs loaded with those healthy omega-3s, and tastes good too.